Good afternoon and welcome back to the Lesson T How to RSGC. My name's Nate Stevenson, I'm your Director of Instruction, and I'm back with April's swing tip for 2023. This month we're talking about wrist angles and lag. This is really important. The wrists are what control the club face. So if you make a beautiful golf swing but you don't know what you're doing, you don't have great feel for what the wrist should be doing, you're going to find an open or closed club face and the ball starting out well right or well left of your target and potentially curving in those directions. So what we want to understand first and foremost here is ulnar and radial deviation. How do we create lag properly? Lag is a beautiful thing. It helps control the club face and create more power and speed if used correctly. What's important is to understand the wrist needs to work in a vertical fashion rather than opening and closing or cupping and bowing. We want to work the thumb towards our radial bone on the takeaway and pinky finger or small finger down to our ulnar bone in the downswing. That's how you properly create lag and you're able to best control the club face. So I'm going to demonstrate here a few different positions that we're looking for. But again, I cannot emphasize enough, we don't want to see cupping. Don't slap the golf ball, work the wrist vertically. This is going to best control that club face and keep it square to your target line. In address, we're going to start with a slightly leading and forward pressed left hand. To start the takeaway, don't hinge the wrists immediately. You're simply going to start the takeaway with the hips and shoulders, hinging that wrist vertically using that ulnar deviation. Again, you'll see the wrist remains fairly neutral. We want to avoid this flipping motion inside early. From there, you're reaching back, extending nicely. You're going to then start hinging that right wrist or trail wrist and trail elbow to the top. Notice again how that lead wrist is relatively neutral at the top. You might see a little bit of extension or cupping in the wrist, but try to keep it from becoming too excessive. Now, the big mistake in most amateurs' golf swings is they pull the hands down and increase the extension rather than flexion of that left wrist or trail or lead wrist in the downswing. So we're going to try to do what the pros do and increase or at least maintain the extension, or the flexion in that left wrist on the downswing. So that means that trail wrist stays cupped. That's how you hold on to the lag. And the lead wrist starts to bow down. When we come back down into position 6, which is club parallel prior to impact, we should see a very flat left wrist. That toe of the club back there should be pointed up towards the sky or even closed down a little bit. And you maintain that wrist lag with the right hand or your trail hand if you're a lefty. We don't want to increase the lag on the downswing. That's called down cocking and leaves us with a wide open club face. Very, very hard to square that up. Very easy to cut or slice this golf ball. So we maintain that or even increase the flexion in bowing in that left wrist. This is what Ben Hogan refers to as supination. Coming into impact, you're going to have that forward lean of the shaft and a bowed or slightly flexed lead hand. Right wrist is released down now. So this is where you go into that ulnar deviation where we've released that lead pinky towards the ulnar bone. Through impact, we're not going to flip. This is a mistake everyone tends to make at times. We don't want to go into extension. Some of this is wrist, some of this has to do with are you transferring the weight and rotating through into the finish. What we'd like to see is those hands continue to rotate and that club face stay square to the target line. P8 is parallel to the ground. Position 8 is parallel to the ground past impact. That club should be pointed right down the target line and the toe of the club should be pointed up in the air. This is going to allow you to control the club face more properly and with more efficiency throughout the swing. Hit it longer, straighter, and make a lot more birdies. Enjoy, guys.